The BMW 3 Series has a new addition, the Gran Turismo. The 3 Series GT combines the sporty dynamism of a sedan with the versatility of its touring station wagon. The main difference, however, is the fastback hatch with an adjustable spoiler. The car is also bigger. The 8 centimeters of extra height allows the driver to sit 6 centimeters higher. Karim Habib from BMW explains that the engineers discussed the proportions at great length, and he believes this is evident in the coupe-like silhouette, and of course, the width, height, and length. The GT is 20 centimeters longer than the Touring. The front is typical 3 Series. The lights and grille blend into one another. The sporty feel is clear from the roofline and hatch. There are 2 innovations, explains Karim Habib: an air curtain at the front, and behind the front wheel, an air breather. They both improve the aerodynamics by reducing turbulence in the wheel arch. The air breather reduces the pressure in the wheel arch, making the car more aerodynamic, as well as reducing emissions and fuel consumption. There are 3 gasoline and 2 fuel-efficient diesel engines on offer for the 3 Series GT. Horst Keller from BMW says all engines come with the latest twin-power turbo technology. That means the engines are designed to create maximum driving pleasure. But fuel consumption and the latest emission requirements are also taken into account. He explains that the technology on board enables a very economical driving experience. We tested the 320D GT with an output of 135 kilowatts and a maximum torque of 380 Newton meters. The car goes from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 7.9 seconds. That's only 0.2 seconds slower than the comparable station wagon. And that's despite being 65 kilos heavier and having a higher drag coefficient. Horst Keller tells us that diesel engines are very important for the European market. They provide great driving pleasure with high torque and agility, yet are very fuel efficient. He predicts the 320D will be the car that sells best. It has a top speed of 230 kilometers an hour and a fuel consumption of 4.9 liters per 100 kilometers. But what do the critics think of the new GT? We asked Australian auto journalist Greg Cable to give us his first impressions.
What we have here is the 3rd variant of the 3 Series. It's a car which is both sporty and at the same time practical. Lots of room inside, but a very sporty driving experience.
Our test car has an 8-speed automatic transmission.
Well, what BMW has done here is make a car which is very roomy inside. The seat position here is a little bit higher than in the 3 Series sedan and the 3 Series Touring, and in the rear you have a lot more legroom.
7 centimeters more to be precise, and that extra legroom in the 3 Series GT means it's a lot more pleasant on long journeys.
The 3 Series Touring has traditionally been very popular in Europe, but in countries like America and China, not so popular. So what BMW has done is has made a so-called liftback body style, and they're hoping that this car will appeal to Americans and the Chinese.
But it's not just the design that is different. There are also new functions. Screens that keep prying eyes away from the trunk can easily be detached and stored. The standard GT has 40 liters more cargo space than the station wagon. The rear seat row can easily be folded down to create more trunk space. BMW hopes this will all help to make it popular overseas. Small and agile, inexpensive to buy and to operate. The Citygo is the smallest member of the Skoda family, and with no optional equipment costs €8,890 in Germany. It's a close relative of the VW Up and the Seat Me. But are these city compacts only for purist drivers? We wanted to find out what the little Czech can do. The first thing we noticed was its good shock absorbance. It ironed out bumps smoothly, which we didn't expect in the compact league. Thanks to its 9 meters 80 turning radius, the Skoda Citygo is easy to maneuver in town, in parking garages, and in narrow, crooked alleyways. With the exception of the entry-level model, all Citigos have power steering. The Citygo's standard safety features include 4 airbags, an electronic stability program, an anti-lock brake system, and an electronic differential lock. The City Safe Drive braking assistant is optional. At speeds below 30 kilometers per hour, it uses a laser sensor to recognize any danger of collision. Beginner drivers will love the Hill Start Assistant, which is standard equipment. It keeps the car from rolling backwards when the brakes are released. The interior shows how big a small car can seem. The comfortably shaped front seats with integrated headrests do more than look sporty. They offer even big people enough room and good lateral support. This is the first time a Skoda has provided side airbags to give the driver and front seat passenger head and chest protection. And the steering wheel's height can be individually adjusted to fit a tall or short driver. If you want electric window openers, you need the variant with extras, which also comes with infotainment and navigation systems. The Citygo provides plenty of storage space, a bottle holder in the middle console, and nets on the sides of the backrests. The Citygo is also available as a 4-door hatchback. In the 2-door version, a flick of a lever provides easy access to the back seat, which has plenty of amenities too, but it's a bit skimpy with legroom. But the trunk's 251 liters of cargo space is considerable in this class of vehicle. The back seats can be turned down to increase that to more than 950 liters. Hooks on the sides of the trunk can be used to fixate bags. We tested the version with a more powerful 55 kilowatt gasoline engine. It takes 13.2 seconds to accelerate to 100 kilometers an hour. The price for this model is €12,415 in Germany. A 5-gear manual transmission is standard, but automatic is available as well. Our judgment and summary: the Skoda Citygo is wonderfully uncomplicated. Its easy handling makes it worth checking out, not only for beginners, but also for practiced and older drivers. With the Trax, Chevrolet now has a compact SUV on offer. Strikingly shaped wheel wells and muscular flanks characterize the 4.25-meter-long Trax. The line of the roof tapers toward the back and ends in an integrated roof spoiler. The Trax comes in 2 gasoline and 1 diesel variant. Other options include a 6-gear automatic transmission and an adaptive all-wheel system. AMG presents the SLS AMG Coupe Black Series. Inspired by the race car version, the SLS AMG GT3, the Black Series is distinguished above all by its lightweight construction. The 464 kilowatt V8 engine takes the Coupe Black from 0 to 100 in just 3.6 seconds. Top speed is 315 kilometers an hour. The vehicle costs about €250,000 in Germany. It looks like a Ferrari, but hails from rural Bavaria, the GLAS GT. Enthusiast Uwe Gusen owns two of these rare vehicles, the 1700 GT Coupe and the 1300 GT Convertible. Since his youth, he's been a fan of the sporty models created by car developer Hans Glas. Gusen says he really likes cars by Glas, especially this 1300 GT here. It was introduced in 1963, and Gusen says even as a young boy, he was thrilled by its great shape and high performance, and he still is today. The convertible's 1.3-liter engine produces 85 horsepower. Gusen tells us that half a century ago, Glas was a small company operating in Lower Bavaria, and a handful of technicians were involved in making cars like this. He thinks it was a great feat for the time. Its Italian-designed, powerful engine and sporty suspension could have made the GLAS GT into a bestseller, but its humble lineage put the brakes on any dreams of grandeur. Hans Glas produced farm machinery before moving on to scooters and small cars like the Go-Go-Mobile. The GLAS GT could never quite shake its rural roots. Uwe Gusen tells us that the car was presented at the Frankfurt Motor Show in 1963. The body was produced in Italy by Pietro Frua and then assembled in Bavaria. He notes that the bumpers at the front had to be fitted individually, as did the doors, because the body was essentially custom-made for each car. That's why the doors and the bumpers were numbered. Gusen really likes the car's lines, especially the sloping curve at the rear. He thinks it gives the car a sporty flair, and the two taillights on either side highlight its Italian style. The GLAS GT looks fast and goes like the wind. In the early 1960s, it was one of the few German-made sports cars around. This GLAS GT fan loves to drive the car on curvy country roads best because it's so much fun. He says the 1700 GT accelerates very well, going from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in around 10 seconds, which was pretty good for its time. The car's top speed is 186 kilometers an hour, which he feels is pretty amazing for a car built in 1965. Gusen says the car has a very special engine, a 4-cylinder with a timing belt drive and overhead cams. The timing belt drive was first used in a GLAS 04 in 1961, and he says it was the first series production engine to use this drive mechanism. The GT is not just fun to drive, it's also very reliable. Uwe Gusen used to drive it to work every day. It's a real sports car, Gusen says, one in which you can feel a real connection to the road, and which takes curves very well. The GT has a sports car engine. You need to warm it up a bit, and then it'll give you lots of pleasure. That was the GT Coupe, Gusen says, and now he shows us something really special, the GLAS GT 1300 convertible. Just 363 of them were ever made, whereas 5,000 of the coupes were produced. It's a jewel of a car, he says. Otherwise, the vehicles were identical, and both were available with either a 1300 or 1700 engine. They were both so nice, he couldn't choose between the two, so he bought both. GLAS GTs in good condition sell for between 20 and 30,000 euros. Gusen says anyone wanting to purchase a GLAS should really make sure the body is in good shape, as having the car painted or sheet metal work done is very costly. Just tracking down a GLAS GT is a feat in itself. They're rare, as the GLAS firm was taken over by BMW in 1966.